Welcome to Schezzwho, Hampton Roads' top spot for politics. And I'm reeling over politics at this moment. But before I react to last night's decisive and unfavorable election result, I want to shout out that which makes this show possible. I'm going to begin, of course, with Andrea Dixon, my lovely wife, who founded the channel herself, keeps engaging me to make sure that I keep going with this because I think it can grow. She thinks it can grow. I'm very thankful for her. Love her so much. Also want to thank Miss Ellen over on Portsmouth Boulevard and in Virginia Beach, across from Virginia University. Her restaurant is Ellen's Homestyle and Barbecue Express. Great, tasty food. It's also my good friend, Mr. Seiko Varner. Creative Positive Vibes Incorporated does credit fixes, tax resolutions, private money, debt consolidation. He'll help you out with that, as well as he founded the Hampton Roads Green Book app. Look that up because if you're ever needing to find good black and brown owned business, he created an app to help you find that. So it's a great service. Look that up, download it. Also want to thank Mr. Farley Perkins, insurance broker, agency owner over at Brightway Insurance, the Farley Perkins Agency. Got his number right here. Got his email address right here. Support him. He's supporting the show. That would be great. And I'll be thankful if you do that. I also want to thank ELG Sweet Boutique for being a great business here in Portsmouth. Great confection-based business. So look that up if you're feeling something sweet. ELG Sweet Boutique in Portsmouth. Don't forget, of course, to like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and importantly, subscribe to this channel, Schezzwho. Let's grow this channel for the sake of better politics ahead. And let's start with the fact that Donald Trump won last night. He won it plainly, fully, and upsettingly. I'll admit, driving home to Portsmouth from my election day class on bloodborne pathogens in Virginia Beach, that I was listening to my favorite podcast on politics, Secular Talk by Kyle Kulinski, Sam Cedar, and the Majority Report. There's a new guy named Adam Mogler. He's had some really good videos. In varying ways, I was listening to them spill out how polls were breaking toward Kamala Harris. Women were flocking toward Harris. And after Madison Square Garden's racist showing in the week before the election, even the Latino began to more massively trend toward Harris again in the last days and hours of election 2024. Wrong. And it shakes me to my core. As of this second, knowing I still like politics and I still have a deepening progressive bend toward my views, I nonetheless feel adrift. What I thought was my reality, my bubble, is popped. And I'm going to have to steel myself as I head into 2025 and beyond, knowing there's more fight than I ever imagined against this politician that I loathe so much, as well as the Republican Senate he'll have free reign to lord over. This sucks, and I want many to listen. First of all, I will not suddenly lose more respect for this country. This country is no worse today in its character than it already was. Second, I'm not going to begin firing blame in all directions. Namely, I've seen many reports today that have stuck with me. Many people lambasting the white women vote. I've seen people say they now fully realize that this country is so deeply sexist that they can't stomach a woman president. I'm going to reject that. I will absolutely contend this country could gladly stomach a woman president. My first reaction is to comment on the turnout collapse. As of this second, Donald Trump has roughly 72.4 million popular votes. In 2020, Donald Trump had 74.2 million. As of me typing this, 2020 Donald Trump beats 2024 Donald Trump by 2 million votes. He beats his current total by a little more than the city of Phoenix. As of 2024, Donald Trump easily won the popular vote. The last time the Republican Party even won the popular vote was George Bush in 2004. Prior to that, it was Bush's dad in 1988. We've long been led to believe that with dense population centers, the Democrat Party had locked down the popular vote, and that's why we need to get rid of the Electoral College, because in many cycles, that was the only way Republicans could win, namely Bush in 2000, and Trump in 2016. Trump right now is leading Democrat Harris by 4.8 million votes cast, essentially the population of Chicago and Houston. Can you believe it, folks? In 2008, Barack Obama won big with 69.8 million votes. He had 66 million votes in 2012. In 2016, Hillary had 65.9. In 2020, the largest turnout in U.S. history occurred, pushing the Democrat haul to 81.2 million votes. And I had thought that this is a trend that would keep going because after COVID, we changed our election system to be more open to early voting, mail-in voting, absentee votes, all of this, which would encourage more and more and more people, both parties, to turn out. But this election is not a story of the electorate suddenly going fascist. I've seen that on a few videos today. It didn't wildly swing to Donald Trump. Trump got weaker in this election, and his numbers prove it. It's just the Democrat turnout plunged by some 13 to 14 million votes. Don't you dare scapegoat Jill Stein. She only got 640,000 votes. Don't blame Chase Oliver. He got 575,000 votes. RFK dropped out. Joined the fucking Trump ticket and still got 611,000 votes. Other candidates like West and Cruz got 325,000 combined. And combined of all of those people, it's about 2.16 million votes. If every single one of those votes went to Kamala Harris, she ties Barack Obama's 2008 total, a cycle from damn near 2 decades ago, and still loses to Trump by nearly 3 million. Democrats, you need to know this country did not swing fascist. It swung to indifference. It is a cycle of people who said, fuck it, I'm not voting. This is most notable in the massive drop in the Democrat Party's total, and that is on them. A friend of mine on Facebook, Joey Makeda, says the following, and sorry, Joey, if I've mispronounced your name. This is not a victory lap, but my take on why Kamala lost. First of all, there is not a single state she would have won that she would have gotten every third-party vote, not even Michigan. If you were thinking of blaming Jill Stein, save it because it wouldn't have mattered. And for the record, this is not a defensive Jill Stein or an endorsement. I think that she sucks. The Israeli genocide of Palestinians is a moral atrocity and will be Joe Biden's enduring legacy, not the IRA, not NATO expansion. It will be 200,000 Arabs murdered by far-right apartheid ethno-state with his unconditional support, despite it being massively unpopular with the electorate. Netanyahu spit in the face every day for a year, and Joe sat there and took it, then sent him another bouquet of bombs. While it did not singularly influence the results, it fed into the public perception that Democrats were fumbling a regional crisis in the Middle East and mishandling not one but 2 devastating wars. Kamala refused to distance herself from Biden on numerous issues, and this was no exception. There was no faith in her ability to project strength and competently manage crises. She inherited Biden's reputation as a weakling. Speaking of which, the Dems' refusal to recognize Biden's obvious cognitive decline as a ticking time bomb was the beginning of the end. There were concerns about his age in 2020, and the party ignored them. He benefited from being 20% more lucid and Trump's massive unpopularity due to the mishandling of the pandemic and crashing the economy. In any normal election, he would have lost. They then forgot Biden would simply continue to get older, and when the time came to campaign again, we saw how that went. Biden had to be coerced into dropping out of the race, but as the vainglorious simpleton that he is, insisted on continuing to make public appearances and sabotaging Kamala with every single one of them. Number 4, I continue to believe Tim Walz was an excellent pick for running mate, but that it was a divisive choice among party insiders. The ticket saw a surge in popularity in the weeks after, mainly due to the messaging that Republicans are weird, attacking conservatives on their pathological obsession with sexuality and gender dynamics. It was a winning strategy. Then the campaign abruptly and inexplicably stopped doing that, and then the polls lagged again. It's important to remember that the party operatives and consultants managing the campaign are the same people every time, and they're the ones who told Walz to stop attacking Republicans and start celebrating their endorsements instead. They're the ones who told Kamala to go on The View and say the only difference between her administration and Biden's would be that she would hire more Republicans. Predictably, their courting of Republican voters got them absolutely nothing except validating the positions to Trump's benefits. Number 5, on that note, Democrats' adoption of Trump's immigration policy was as stupid as it was evil. To those for whom immigration is a salient issue, Democrats' reversal on border policy comes across as inauthentic. Why would conservatives vote Democrat when they know Republicans were right the whole time? Accepting the right's framing of the issue is not just a moral failure, but it also portrays a clear distinction between the candidates. It doesn't win anyone over, and it makes them look phony. 6, ultimately, the Democrats' biggest failure is that they were unable to make a convincing case for why Trump is an existential threat to democracy and civil rights. Most people remember the first Trump term, and while it was terrible for many reasons, it came and went, and we're still here. January 6th was a real, if incompetent and hapless attempt at subverting the results of an election, but you want to know it by looking at the years since. Merrick Garland was handed the Attorney General appointment as a consolation prize for being deprived of a Supreme Court seat, but he is still a spineless centrist and did not pursue prosecution with any sense of urgency. He dragged his feet to the point where his sentencing date for a wholly unrelated charge was unable to be postponed until after the election. Democrats crowing about Trump being a traitor rings hollow when they don't even treat him like one. I know the two parties aren't the same, but they let morons vote too. And what they've seen over the last 4 years is a bumbling oaf stumble his way through an ineffective term while things got worse around him, and his replacement openly says she will govern exactly the same way. Additionally, and I'm not totally confident on this one, but they would have put Trump dead to rights if they reminded everyone that he was good friends with Jeffrey Epstein, the most notorious pedophile sex trafficker of all time. They left that in the quiver because they insist on parading the rotting corpse of Bill Clinton in front of everyone. And a deeply libertarian Facebook friend of mine named Adam Bates says the following. Are there positives? I don't know, dude. Not really. It's a catastrophe. Positives? Well, maybe. Hopefully it ends the end of Kamala Harris's political career. That's good. Trump almost got his VP hanged. So if you hate J.D. Vance as much as I do, him being Trump's VP offers some tantalizing possibilities. I guess it's a positive that a lot of people who spent the last 4 years defending Democrat evil on the border and abroad will now suddenly find themselves back on the correct side of the moral atrocities. But since it's so clear that it's just partisanship and not genuine opposition, I'm not sure what to do with it. It's yet another opportunity for Democrats to do some introspection and for once not come away concluding it's the children who are wrong and actually hold themselves accountable for picking a bad candidate through a sham process and only trying to figure out what Americans want out of their politicians after the election instead of before. And maybe running someone who tries to distinguish themselves from genocidal Republican bootlegging instead of trying to mimic it. But it's the Dems, so I want to hold my breath for that. And of such a widespread beating that there's not going to be any clear cause. Like, if they had lost because of Michigan, then you can make a clear argument for why. But Kamala underperformed basically everywhere, which gives them a lot of leeway to blame whatever they think is most expedient. So no, I don't think there are many real positives, not until there's some kind of generational changing of the guard in the Democratic Party with these old bigots and oblivious milquetoast moderates with whom we will fight tooth and nail. It's a shit show. It really is. But that's the situation now, and we've got to go deal with it, so let's go. There'll be much more on this ahead. This is back to me here. But I have to react to what I saw in the past 48 hours, and my goal is to make Schezzwho a real solid show on local, state, and national politics. It's going to need more of my honest takes to do so, so hopefully I can try to do a show every day. I hope you listen tonight. Buckle up for the next 4 years, and I'll catch you on the next Schezzwho.